Do you want to start?
No.
Just say, hi, I'm Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate.
And I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Feast.
Sheath.
And Shatter.
Hannah
Sorry.
touched her microphone in the middle of it.
I think we should start
Hey, I'm
over.
Kate.
See, this
Hey,
is the...
okay. Hey, I'm Kate.
And I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Feast.
Sheath.
And Shatter.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter. It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter.
Dun, 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 dun. So I looked up how many times those words were used in the book. They are used. All three of our words are used. However, they are never used the way that we mean them to be. But this book still counts because it has, as we've decided, a fair share of adult content.
I did like the destroy the armoire scene.
Correct.
I was ready for the destroy the armoire scene.
By the time you got there.
Yeah.
So today we are covering Fourth Wing. We paused on this for a minute. This book has a lot. This book came out last April. It has only been out since April, not even a year yet.
Wild.
We got a second book in November. It took off, hit the bestseller list. Like, this is one of those pop culture phenomenon books. I think I read mine in May. So I've been on that train for a minute because it popped up on TikTok and it was like, and that was my genre. This is my genre. Mm-hmm. You know? So this is Fourth Wing it's a book.
Yeah,
and,
it is correct. Yes.
And I just want to start off by saying, spoiler warning, we're going to talk about Fourth Wing, everything that has to do with Fourth Wing. We are not going to talk about Iron Flame, or we're going to do our best not to talk about Iron Flame, so that people who haven't read Iron Flame can listen to this podcast. And I am going to do my best to not reference all of the other books we have already read and spoil them. So you can listen out of order if you want.
I think you can reference, just don't spoil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my best to not say too much. I can reference our own jokes.
Yes.
Our own inside jokes.
Yeah, and you can draw parallels.
Also, we're not a fan cast.
Yeah.
Some of us like this book more than others. Some of us
Correct.
die for this book. And actually, I don't know. Yeah. This is a good one. But it's not my...
Yeah.
It ain't...
I don't think any of
I don't
us
carry
are
this.
dying
This isn't an
for it.
identifier for me.
No.
It was good. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I read the first one, Fourth Wing, pretty quickly,
Yeah.
which means I liked it.
Yeah. So,
So-
if you're looking for a fan cast, there are amazing podcasts out there about it. We'll mention one. We'll throw one in the thing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that there's one in particular that are these two sisters that do a really fantastic job of like breaking it down. And I've listened to theirs, and they're funny, and they cuss a lot, so I felt right at home. If you use the F word, nothing makes me feel closer to you and more like we're on the same page than an immediate F-bomb.
Yeah.
That's how I talk. Oh, the F word gets used in this book like 400 times.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that felt comfortable
That felt like
immediately.
home.
Felt like
Yeah,
home immediately.
I do like it when they do that and they don't make up a swear word.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy
Sometimes,
a made-up swear word.
Cauldron, bless your heart.
Well, they do say, they use like Dunni or D-U-N-N-E, whichever god, or Malek.
Yeah.
Like they will, like anything where it's like, oh my God, they will replace that a lot of times with the
With their
local
god.
deities.
Sure.
But yeah, she doesn't, it's not, no one's using fetch or
No.
anything like that.
No. She was just like, nah, fuck.
Yeah.
Let's go
And she
for
starts immediately.
it. Yeah.
So our book starts off with Violet. And I remember when I first read this, I really liked Violet immediately.
Yeah, I did. She's
Me
a good
too.
character.
She's petite. She's very small. Like 5'2", 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And she's got a chronic illness.
She's got a connective tissue disorder.
Right. And what is the word she uses when her tissue her joints pop out?
Subluxate.
Subluxate.
Yeah.
So she's got, she never really goes into detail, but apparently that's something that the author Rebecca Yarros has herself and all her kids have. So she was familiar with that illness.
Yeah.
Is it an illness or is it just something that you live
I
with?
think your joints are hypermobile,
Okay.
and so you can't get the same amount of like strength because
Yeah.
your joints can.
They move too much. So you'd
much,
be a
yeah.
really graceful
Very bendy.
dancer.
Yeah.
So you're like bendy. So you need to
Yeah,
be like
you're
in
bendy.
Cirque du Soleil versus like a power runner.
Except you can actually twist them far enough to pop them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
And I hate that for them. I know. That sounds,
That's
you
why
know,
like her shoulder slips out a lot. Like
okay.
I like how she is used to pain. She
Yes.
lives in pain.
she
She's like, pain is my life. I
Yeah.
can do this all day.
And her mom says that from day one. Like Violet lives with pain almost every day. She's learned to, she like squares it away.
Yeah.
To use military lingo, she squares it away in the back of her head.
yeah.
She's like, I got this. And that we'll learn more about that in Iron Flame. But in this book, we're introduced to her and she's like training and running up some stairs with a giant rucksack on.
Yeah.
Because she is immediately going to we start at this school, Basquiat.
Good job.
Thank you. Basquiat on, what do they call it? What's the day? The first day of school? I can't remember what they call it. Anyways, it's kind of like freshmen,
Yeah.
first years.
They have to cross the parapet. It's
Which-
like selection day or something. or-
Selection day, maybe.
I think that is, yeah.
But they are basically in this school, there's quadrants, right? We've seen that before. Reach silently. And we have the writer's quadrant where people ride dragons, the scribe quadrant where they propagandize everybody,
Right.
or just keep record of history and books.
Yeah, we don't know. It's probably been for a
Healers,
while.
people who are in the medical field, and then infantry,
Yes.
right? Which are just like boots on the ground. Like it's basically like the Air Force versus the
Conscription day.
conscription day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like the writer. Oh, yeah.
Conscription.
The writers are the elite. They are like the special forces.
Yeah.
You know.
Navy
Yeah.
SEAls.
They're like the Navy SEAls. Yeah.
Green berets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rangers.
Bad asses. And we get our little tiny
Violet, who has been studying. So her mother is General Soren Gale and has
Yeah.
been, is literally, did I say it right?
Yeah, literally.
You literally said it
You
right.
literally said it
literally
correct.
said it right.
Yes.
She's like the general of the school. She's in charge of the school. And she's, of course, a general in the military, which, if you are familiar with the military, is a really high rank. Her father was a scribe. She related more with her dad. She grew up in the library. She's a very smart whippersnapper. And she thought she was going to be a scribe. And then her mom was like, nope.
Surprise!
Not my kid. Oh, this is what you want to do? No, thank you.
She did give her 6 months to train, so that was nice.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, she did. But her mom immediately had faith in her that she was something special. And her mom just knew. So the first act of conscription day is you have to cross a parapet, which is 18 inches across.
Yeah.
It is enough to put like your feet side by side. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a foot and a half.
I would immediately fall off.
But it's 200 feet up in the air
Yeah.
over like a ravine. And it connects the writer's quadrant with just like the middle of the school.
Yeah.
So, and it's windy and, it's pretty scary.
It rains
It is.
only when Violet crosses it.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
storms.
It storms, and
Like
then
a
as soon as she gets over,
torrential-
it stops.
Yeah.
And she's
It's
like,
like
"Huh,
sunshine.
man, weather's so unpredictable.
Yeah. And I think
Dang,
something.
doesn't my mom control the weather?
Yeah, isn't that her
sure my mom-
signet? So people have signets.
So
They have their signets, which are their powers. And her mother's signet, of course, is like thunderstorms.
Weather.
It's like Storm on X-Men.
She really
Yeah.
is actually. I'm
Yeah.
gonna mention that later, but I have notes on that.
Okay.
But let's talk about Violet's appearance really quickly because that's something that stands out about her. She is losing color. So her hair is brown, but is fading to gray. So the
Yeah.
ends of her hair, no matter what length, are white or fading to gray. Her skin, her eyes are all like
Pale.
Like think of like almost grayscale, but still with signs of life, right? So we learn later on, once we find out who our big bad are, that's kind of like what they look like. And it's like, why? Why though? So big
But
question.
doesn't her mom look like that too?
Maybe.
Well, they mentioned her. I knew by your coloring. Like
Yeah.
I could tell by your hair. Unless there's just like a.
Like her mom has the silver hair, and her mom was sick, had some illness while she was pregnant with Violet.
Right. So who knows what that is? We don't know what that is.
So-
But it's one of the first questions that we ask
Yeah.
as readers that we don't get answered in the first book. When we talk about pacing a little bit more, Rebecca likes to ask us a question and then answer it.
Yeah.
Here's a question, 2 chapters later, let's answer it.
Or sometimes she presents them at the same time. Oh, you didn't know this was a question, but here it is. But don't worry, Violet's already figured it out.
Right, which in some ways is cool because I liked first reading this that Violet was always the smartest person in the room, and I trusted that Violet knew what was best.
Yeah.
Because I don't really like to be in the dark for very long.
Yeah, it depends on, is this the overarching mystery that's making me push through this book? Or
Yeah.
is it something I really legitimately think everybody should be working on and we should all solve?
Right.
It really just depends.
Like, how big of an issue is it in this? Yeah. Is it like
Yeah.
a little tiny subplot where I'm not anxious about it?
Yeah.
Right. So, conscription day, everybody's like, Mira shows up. That's her sister, her big sister, who's like a badass. Like 6, I think how many years does Mira have? 2 years on her?
She just graduated recently, like within the last couple of years.
Right. But
Yeah.
Mira's a big deal. She's very high up in the writer's quadrant. I think she's a lieutenant still. But anyway, people are like, oh my God, your sister, she's so cool. And she's like,
She's like a rock star.
She is, I guess.
Yeah. But we like Mira. She
We
likes
like Mira a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we find out her brother Brennan had died and died 6 years prior.
Yep.
And that broke her dad's heart, and she recently lost her dad as well within the last few years. And
We never find out her dad's name, do we?
no, we don't know her dad's name
No.
at all. I was just looking at it, not mentioned.
It feels like somebody else's last name that we don't know.
Reese Sands?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the author is like, oh, I just literally forgot to put it in there, but
Right. Yeah, it's probably like Norbert or something. So the thing is, it's conscription day. Mira's like, okay, so we got this kid named Dane Atos, who's her best friend. She grew up with him. He's like your K-All.
Yes.
Catch that reference?
Yes.
He is like your basic guy. He's your straight white
Handsome.
dude. Yeah.
Blonde.
Yeah. And handsome, kind of, a beard, He's her bestie. His dad is General Sorengale's like right-hand man.
yeah.
And she's like, yo, you have to stay away from this guy, Zayden Ryerson, whose father led a rebellion against the Navari people. So we've got these military themes.
And killed your brother.
Yes,
His father killed your brother.
in essence.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why she's supposed to hate him so much.
Right. And Zayden, this Zayden Ryerson kid is going to come for her because General Sorengale, Violet's mom, murdered, or I guess it wasn't an illegal killing. They executed all of these parents
Yeah.
of the rebellion. And so what they then did was say that the kids of the rebellion had to get conscripted and had to go through the writer's quadrant. And so that's where the story kind of starts. So
Yeah.
it starts off,
Right. Just bam.
boom, here you go. This is
Yep.
what's going on. So Mira's like,
Yep.
stay
I
away.
like how they say about that they originally thought that no dragon is going to bond with one of them.
Because-
so it's just a good way to kill them, basically.
Yeah, they thought they were
But they
taking
ended
care of
up
them.
doing great in the writer's
Yeah.
quadrant.
I wonder why. Because so then there's this whole other theme throughout where the dragons and the people are not like dragons bond people, but dragon law has nothing to do with people.
Right.
So there's that, and we learn more about that pretty early on. So Violet gets across that bridge, the
Parapet.
footbridge, the parapet.
Her sister makes her that armor,
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
like the world's biggest plot device. Ever,
Yeah.
Ever.
yeah.
She's like, oh, it's dragon scales. Oh, but aren't dragon scales really big? Yeah, but I know someone that can make them small.
Yeah, which is actually really freaking cool.
I
And
mean,
that was
it's
one of the
cool.
things.
I'm not saying
That's
it's
one of the
not
things that
cool.
kind of hooked me into this book really early. I was like, oh, that's neat. She's got her own. She like goes in, even though she's got this, thing holding her back, and she's really weak and scrawny, and no one thinks she's gonna make it. She's got this like one up,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay,
And it saves her.
and it does,
Yeah.
every time,
Right.
Because it's. I don't know why everyone doesn't have them.
Right. Why is this not standard issue in the military?
Someone should look into this.
Yeah.
Like, this is hot.
Yeah, and we learn really
She's
early.
been stabbed like multiple times.
And she can't like die. Like it saves her
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many times. And she's not supposed to be wearing Rider's black, but she does. So she like, even though she's this tiny scrawny thing that doesn't know how to do anything, she shows up like ready to go. And people are like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
And she has her first moment when she sees this hottie. That's our first indicator that this book is going to be spicy.
Yeah.
So she's dropping F-bombs immediately, and we get the hint of the spice really early. And that is what draws you in,
yeah.
if that's what you're looking for.
Right. And she's a compassionate character. She switches her boot
Yeah.
with Rhiannon like immediately. She's like, "Oh, you got the wrong boots. I had those on this morning too, but don't worry, my sister gave me these cooler boots. You can have one of my boots, and then when we get on the other side, we'll just switch back."
Right. Because she knows that the rubber on the boots is going to keep them from falling.
Right.
And that does.
Yeah.
It-
So then she makes her bestie for life.
Yeah.
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 And a really important ally.
Yeah. Which her sister has been like, don't make friends. And
Yeah.
she's like,
Make allies.
I'm definitely going to make friends.
I'm going to make so many
I'm
good friends.
definitely going to have so
Half
many
of them
friends.
are gonna die, but it's cool. It's fine.
Something I like about Violet's personality really early is the writers, and we're going to talk more about this, like the stakes are really like weird in this book
Yeah.
because it's like you're conscripted and you're going across this parapet, and 30% of the people who try and do it are dead in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Chapter 1, my heart rate was elevated.
because we meet a
I
character
had
that
to
we
look
like.
at my heart app on my Apple Watch to make sure I wasn't hyperventilating.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. I mean, we meet that kid really early. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, and he falls.
He falls. And the point is, like,
Dylan or something.
Dylan,
Like,
maybe.
yeah, I liked that guy.
Everybody
He's-
liked him. He was
Nope.
he was likable. He was
Nope.
going to get married.
Yep.
He had his promise necklace on.
Yeah.
He was like,
He fell.
he's like, this is how we get married faster. So there's more stakes. And so they all live a little bit more recklessly.
Well, they're all like 20.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they are older,
Yay.
They are age older.
age older. And
Yeah.
at times, and I think one of the criticisms of the book is at times they act more young adulty.
Yes. That would be a Rachel criticism of this book.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that is something I looked at the Goodreads for this, and there's like 600,000 5-star reviews,
Wow.
but there are also 8,000 1-star reviews.
Oh, wow.
And there are 4-star and 3-star. Like there
I don't
is
think
a
it's 1 star.
there's a spread. Some people are pissed about things that are happening, and if that's what you're looking for, like
Oh.
if you're looking for a completely original romantic fantasy,
This ain't it.
ain't it.
Ain't it?
Because I can name 10 other Shadow Daddies, baby,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to because I'm not going to reference some
that-
other books.
But it's okay because that's what a genre
It is a genre.
is.
Yep.
I'm reading this because I'm like, oh, there's my shadow
I
daddy.
like
I like,
Okay.
I like
All
a
right.
I like a broody male character that's morally gray and is
A little bit scary.
a little
Yeah.
bit scary with really powerful, like super hunky.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is like 6'4".
Tattoos.
Yeah, he's a person of color. He's got scars all over his body, and she sees him. And our first indicator, like, we don't know who he is at first, and she's like, "Who is that? Who is that man? And why?
Ooh, and
why do I feel like this on the inside?" Like really early.
He's doing things to my body.
Oh,
He's just standing over there against the wall.
My body. He's so. Why does he look so good? And then she's like, "Oh, that's Zayden," and she's like, "Ah,
Ah,
of course
damn
it is."
Wow. She's like, damn, I'm attracted to bad
And
men.
Zayden like looks at her, and we don't know what he's thinking, but he's like, "Oh, who's this? Oh, you're a Sorengale? Okay." And we don't know anything more about that. Anyway, so she gets through. We also meet this jackass named Jack Barlow.
I hate this character type.
Yeah.
Tell us
this
about
character
it.
type. Just, you want to know?
I want to know.
Tell
I
me.
hate I am evil. I am so evil. You can tell I'm evil because I'm mean and I hurt people and I have no other character traits. I am just bad.
For no reason.
It's because she's.
Can you hear me?
You're fine.
Okay. I'm eating pizza rolls.
And it's just because she needed someone to create conflict in the story. And yes, she weaves him in differently as time goes on. But ultimately, he's just like, he's the bad dude because he's the bad guy and he's so mean and shit. And it always reminds me of in Spaceballs when he's like, evil will always triumph because good is dumb. And the fact that we don't just like, okay, let's go ahead and kill Jack Barlow. It's totally legal for them to kill people who are not in their group. He is actively trying to kill Violet. There is literally no taboo against killing other people. Nothing. It wouldn't even be punished. Her whole group could get together and take Jack out.
Yeah.
She could poison him.
With
Easily.
Oranges. Is Jack the one that's allergic to
Yeah.
oranges?
Oranges.
Citrus, y'all. Citrus. We won't talk about citrus later on. I got some theories about citrus.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. He is made to also be to distract us from the bad guys or the people that we shouldn't like right in front of us.
Yeah, but this character shows up. This is not the only book he ever shows. This type of character shows up in.
Yeah.
You know when they show up, and it always feels lazy, and it always they're not the main bad guy because
Yeah.
they're like the cheap bad guy. They're like
Yeah.
the dollar store bad guy, and they're just there. And every time they show up, and they wreak havoc, and they get away with it because the good people are trying to do the right thing. It makes me so frustrated, and then. I don't know. As soon as he showed up, I was like, oh, fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Like I was in this book, and then then Jack Barlow shows up immediately on the parapet, and he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm
and
gonna
he's just
fucking kill you.
that like machismo,
Yeah.
masculine, toxic bro.
And he pushes somebody off the parapet
Dylan.
immediately.
Or maybe it's not Dylan, but he kills somebody right away.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not scared. And I think we'll have a little bit more conversation there too for the second book.
Yeah.
Because there are things that happen that give that a little bit more depth, but I agree. He was very it was a black and white character.
Yeah.
There is no, you also don't like a villain that you can't relate to.
Because they feel like a lazy villain.
yeah.
The mustachioed bad guy who's just like, whoa, my
whole goal
I'm
is to-
evil. And you're
Yeah.
like, I don't really fucking care about you.
Yeah.
Like, we know you're going to get defeated. There's no,
Yeah. Yeah. And
You know.
he was more of just a plot device.
he wasn't just a giant plot device.
Yeah.
So she put no effort into him.
Right.
He kills a bunch of people. Like
A
a lot of
bunch.
people.
A lot of people. Yeah. And a lot of people die. That is one of the things about this book that,
He tries to kill a dragon.
which is,
Hello? I feel like something should have happened to him for that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have feelings about how they treat the dragons, considering they are reliant on the dragons volunteering.
For magic. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then they are shitty to the dragons.
Right. And
Like-
they know nothing about them. And
They know
Yeah.
nothing about them. They need them.
that is the thing. And we'll talk more about this. And that, I think, for some people, is the huge complaint about these books is how poorly they're written.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of people out there, and you don't have to be the perfect writer to tell a good story.
No.
Like a lot of my favorite writers, they're not doing no one's studying them in the academic world, right?
And that's fine.
And that's fine. It's enjoyable, but there are things that happen in these stories that I don't feel are intentional. I do think are distracting. And when you read, I think this book really hit a lot of people because it might have been their first shot at a romantic fantasy. And if this is the first time you're introduced to that, you're like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But there are things that where you're just like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
And you actually aren't thinking this through. You are just writing page after page after page. It's always forward movement. There's never quiet time.
No.
That's my complaint.
It's exhausting.
There's never any quiet time. It's never cozy. There's never time to sit and like mellow with these characters that we have these emotional connections to. And I require that to love a character.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to reference some other books, but like I want some downtime.
Yeah.
And, we do get, a small like sex scenes. We get some spicy moments where there's some downtime, but I want some downtime with like Rhiannon and Violet, just chill, like hanging out.
Have a sleepover.
In the dorm room. Like,
Yeah.
We get tiny
bit.
snippets.
One of the things I remember saying to Rachel when I first read it is like, hey, I think you'll like this. There's something new on every page, right? And so what she does is create this pacing that is just go, go, go. It really feels, this one not as much as the second one, but like a soap opera
Yeah.
where we kind of know where we want to go, but we're just going to keep what's like monster of the week almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's just,
The plot is happening to them relentlessly.
yeah,
Relentlessly.
Right.
And they're not really driving all that much of the plot.
right.
It's just occurring. It's occurring to them. It's happening at them.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
And that's a really exciting book.
yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. Like everything is new. Oh my God, they looked at each other. Oh my God, he's hot. Oh my God, she loves. She comes to when she first meets Dane. So she
Yeah.
gets off the parapet and she finds Dane Atos. And she's known Dane for a really long time. And she's like, there's something about Dane. I just really like Dane.
Yeah.
He's just so comforting. I've known him for so long. Dane. So you didn't like Jack. Dane for me was like, I see you and you're not going to get me again. I know it. No, hey, I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say it because that's a spoiler right there. But yeah, it's fine. That's what I thought.
What did I say? I didn't say anything.
You said,
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
And then you said it again.
oh, shit, because you were lying.
Yeah, I'm lying.
You were
Don't say it
you were
again because I'll put the beep over Hannah, but now I got
was
to beep
gaslighting
you
beep it
too.
again.
you.
Beep it again. You were gaslighting me. I was like, what's happening here?
Nothing happened.
Nothing. I don't remember the last 30 seconds.
But I definitely felt like this dude is not going to trick me.
Immediately, I was like, I see you. No one will take. I will not be had again. Immediate red flags. I will not be had again.
We're learning.
Yeah.
We are getting
like,
so
oh.
healthy, Kate.
It's like, there it is. There it is. I see you, overprotective, thinking you know better than her. He's immediately like, Violet, oh my God, why are you here? You're so fragile.
we got to get you out.
You're fragile. No.
You're fragile.
We got to get you out of here. You got to go.
For months.
You
Like,
can't-
and she keeps kicking ass. She
You
bonds
can't
two
do this.
dragons. She does all
You
this
can't
stuff.
do this.
And he's still trying to get her
You
out.
can't do
hey,
this.
I talked to this dude and he said he'd get
We're
you in
gonna
the
get you
scrub.
out.
Like, it's
Yeah.
been 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
So-
doing great.
And I really think that exact response that I had
Yeah.
where other women were other readers were so proud of themselves because they felt it too.
Yes.
And after having this other epic story that we won't mention, pull one over on you. People went really hard on
Yeah.
Dane.
Yeah.
So
a little too hard.
Not
yeah,
today,
I-
Dane.
I
Well-
don't think he's great, but do I think, I don't know. It's
He
like
didn't
everybody
do-
have a great day, but you, Dane. I
but
saw that quite a
he
bit. And
got
it's like,
he got shit not because he's Dane Atos, but because he reminded them of this other character.
yeah.
That it was
Yeah.
and I saw an interview with Rebecca Yarros where someone said, "Is Dane like this person?" And her response, this is when I realized I don't think that lady's been to therapy. There was this immediate defensiveness of her writing where it was like, Jennifer Armentrout does this thing and Sarah J. Maas does this thing and they do it really well, but that's not what I'm doing. But like, if you really dug deep into what that woman was asking, there's just this fear
Yeah.
of emotionally investing.
We're going to get duped again.
Well, no one duped you, Rachel. You were never
No one's
duped.
duping Rach.
No one
will get duped again.
Yeah, right. All of us ladies out here trying to learn how to love respectful men We got duped.
Yeah, we did.
So, and that's really what was happening. It's just this audience of readers who didn't want to get fucking duped. And they saw this guy. And so there was just all these correlations that you were bringing emotions from these other incredible books into this one.
Yeah.
And I saw it happen on Book Talk. And I really think that without that one, Sister Sarah, she walked.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that, I genuinely think that.
Yeah.
That
I can
that
see
this book wouldn't have been received the same way if we hadn't all already have gone through this story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that we because we're always looking for stories that make us feel like ACOTAR and Throne of Glass and Crescent City and other books. I can't name any because that's all I have in my repertoire of love.
That's all I like.
That's all I like. Just kidding. I like other books. But the way that those books make us feel, this started to feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I can
exciting.
see that. The first one, yeah.
Yeah. Really. So she meets Dane. We're off the parapet now.
Yeah.
Episode 1 over.
Episode 1.
Over.
She
So
really does.
I know.
Yeah.
It is episodes.
So
It's
if
episodic.
you hear us talking about episodes, something that we talked about off pod when we were thinking about this one, and we'll go into it a little bit more in Iron Flame, is this book has already been picked up by Amazon. No. Yeah, and Amazon, like, they're gonna get like a Lord of the Rings budget, bruh.
Shut up.
Sis, since we're a girls podcast, sorry.
It's okay.
Delete that.
I
That I
saw a
called you
good
bruh.
argument for making like cis and girls the new gender neutral term.
I love it. What
and they're
argument?
like, we've swallowed the dude thing, that dude is gender neutral, and man
Guys,
is gender
bruh.
neutral.
dude,
Bruh.
bruh.
Yeah,
Yeah. So suck it, sister now.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, they're gonna get a Lord of the Rings
Oh
budget
yeah,
for this.
and then probably won't, or Wheel of Time budget, right?
Mm.
But yeah, it's already been picked up. And if you look at the pacing, it's wait, I think I already did say it. It's like a Monster of the Week.
It
Mhm.
is.
It's episodic.
Yeah.
The
It's
way
a soap
that
opera.
the plot goes, the way it's like new plot, old plot, plot from up above,
Yeah.
micro plot, macro plot, right? It's always something moving forward. And
Every chapter has a big reveal. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like
it's written for TV.
it really
almost.
is.
Yeah.
And that is cool. I think that I genuinely feel like I'm going to love this TV show and I'm not going to read them anymore.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
For me, that is like, I would rather just watch this on TV than continue to read these books. And I like the story. I really like these characters. I'm invested, but
Mhm.
they, and after,
You're not reading it for the prose, so
no.
you're reading it just to find out what
And
happens. So the
when
TV show will do that.
Yes.
I think is where you're going.
And I
Yeah.
think that you can hit all the things that are emotionally resonant for me, the connections and the story. I think they can be told just as well in a TV show, because I think there are things that are hard about these books. Like, there are several times, and this happens in Iron Flame for me too, but there are times when I'm reading this book where I don't understand what the fuck is happening, and I have to reread it a couple times
yeah.
because the imagery of the action scene isn't. I thought it was me, but then I read the same criticisms where it's just not setting the scene well enough for me to. I always feel like I missed something, but it's really just because it's not fluid.
Yeah.
And I feel like by me, me, I don't have a TV in my brain. So I feel like I will get that on a television show and I'll be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that problem too, and I do have a TV in my brain.
Right.
So it was like watching it and then like a glitch in the Matrix. And I would have to stop and say, wait a minute, how, for instance, her fight with bad boy
Jack.
Barlow on the mat.
Right.
You
When
know,
she
lots of
oranged him.
action when
Right.
she oranges him. It was a lot of, and then I was like, wait, how did we get here? Like, what? I'm following along, but then it stops and it gets weird. So, I mean, I think that's just with everybody. That's definitely not just you.
No. Yeah.
I ended up just skimming her action scenes.
Yeah.
See,
I was like, okay, into that. Did anybody die? Nope. Okay, let's get going.
probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Because some of it was like, didn't they go try to find an egg or something?
Yeah, that's when Jack Barlow is killed later on in episode 5.
They have to take their wyvern. Their dragons to go find an egg.
Well, they actually have dragons.
Didn't we do that in Throne of Glass?
No,
Doesn't Manon's group, like, they all go out and they have to, like, capture a crystal egg and keep it safe? Because that's when the blue blood
Interesting.
heir,
yeah.
or when her wyvern
That's
dies.
yeah, they do. Everything that happens in this book has been done in another book, and it's just
Yeah.
put together. Yeah, it's Capture the Flag.
Yeah,
In
it's
an
Capture the
army
Flag.
school.
Yeah, I
In a
skimmed
military
that.
school.
I was like, okay.
And that's when she basically at that point has discovered that her signet is lightning, and she brings down the mountain on Jack Barlow.
Yeah,
it
I
squishes
zoned out.
him.
Yeah, it was like we watched a
Squish.
lot of 90s TV for some of our other podcasts.
Right.
And you're like, okay, what here's the setup. Okay, here's the thing that went wrong. Okay, here's the resolution, done. So I was like, okay, the setup is capture the flag. Okay, something's going to happen and it's going to go every shit's going to go awry, and then we're
Right.
going to have to figure out how to bring it all back, and then we're going to regroup at the end of it. And bring everything back to status quo so we can start the next episode the way we ended the last, like, fresh. And so, that's why you can skim her action scenes, because they don't matter.
They
Yeah.
don't matter.
Well, and then, but I'll tell you one that I did enjoy, but it was because something else was happening, and it's when her and Zayden. So there's no point in even talking about the plot anymore.
Yeah.
So we are, Zayden and her have this instant kind of connection thing. We can tell that they're super into each other, and she still thinks he's going to kill her. So she does, for a little bit of the book, think he's going to try and kill her, right?
Yeah. Along with everybody else.
Yeah. But he starts teaching her how to fight because she's wasting energy because she's little. So I did like that scene.
Yeah.
That scene where Zayden is like whispering in her ear
Yeah.
and telling her, and they're like wrestling to the mat. And he's like, why are you wasting so much energy taking these big shots when you're tiny and you can just like micro stab them 10 times
Yeah.
in their kidney?
Yeah.
And that scene was great, but it was because there was this like connection, and I think she does sexual tension
Yeah.
and chemistry well.
Yeah. That played out really well.
And I liked Violet, Zane. Who's that? Zayden. Zayden ends up being the shadow daddy with, shadows.
Actual shadows. Yeah.
Which, we all love that. That's another thing. That is like, would we love that so fucking much if we hadn't already had a relationship
already had
with
this.
sexy ass men with shadow powers?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I used to be part of this writers group, and people would bring in stories and read them. And there was this one guy in there who was like a publisher, and he always was like, "Oh no, there's too many tropes. Like I could pick out all your tropes. You got to get those out of there." And it's like,
off.
I was always like, no. If I'm looking for a specific kind of book, those are signposts, and I'm like, good, I'm on the right road.
Right.
Like I know I'm driving in the right direction.
And-
And Shadow Daddy showed up. Fuck yeah, let's keep going.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you will see over and over and over on TikTok and places where book readers of this genre hang out. We all have our tropes that we like. We will read it over and over again. Sometimes you get some originality. Sometimes the prose is great. Sometimes, every book does some similar things.
Yeah.
So this is a great part to share this little anecdote. And I may have said this on another episode.
It's
but
all right.
I have a friend who is new to, did I say this already?
I don't
have
think
no
you said
idea.
it on the podcast.
Maybe just talking to you.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't talk so much. Only talk on the pod.
Okay.
But she's new to reading. She's in a lot of book groups, but they do like other books. She's new to reading the fantasy and romance, the combo, especially fantasy. And she's read ACOTAR, and she read Fourth Wing. And she was like, she asked me, she said, do you think the authors get mad that their books are so similar? And I thought it was the sweetest little thing ever, because I had to find a way to be like,
Welcome to the
oh,
world.
this is actually the similarities that you're speaking of. That's just the genre.
Yep.
And they don't get mad at each other because there are hundreds and thousands more books that do all of
This
these
is what
things.
we're talking about.
They do all of these things. But I also loved that she put together how similar the things that are happening in Fourth Wing and some of the things that happen in ACOTAR are.
Yeah.
But I imagine coming in, if those are the only 2 books you've read in this kind of like fantasy realm, that
I just want to say, I've never heard you say that story before.
okay, great. Did you know that Rachel's a fast reader?
I did. Yeah, actually know that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank
Yeah.
you. It took me a long time to make it through Iron Flame. I went through Fourth Wing really fast. I think because I like the romance.
Yeah.
I like
Like
the
how
tension
fast?
of
like 3 hours.
These are long books. 2.35.
3 hours.
Yeah.
I read it in a day. But it was like, it's a romance. So it was.
As Hannah and I look at each other and I'm like, what the fuck? Just a day.
If it takes me more than a day to read a book, I don't like it. Or I don't like it. I don't love it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I love a book, I'm just going to finish it
Right.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
Don't you ever apologize for your
ever
superhero
apologize.
power.
I didn't know it was a superpower.
It is.
It is, and it's a blessing.
It is a true blessing.
From the cauldron.
Thank you.
Cauldron
You're
blessed.
cauldron
We
blessed.
can't be cauldron blessed. They don't have a blessing. They don't. It's just
Mallet,
shit.
may we commend your blessing to Mallet.
No, you just burn everything
To
and you
Malek.
don't talk about them ever again.
Yeah, that's
Her
another
world
thing.
is fucking bleak.
It is bleak.
It's bleak.
It's super
You're
bleak.
probably going to
But
die.
and we'll say more about this. We got to save that for Iron Flame.
Okay.
So got to save it for Iron Flame. But it is bleak.
It's fucking
and the
bleak.
stakes are fucking weird because you've got these kids. They're kind of kids. I mean, I was 20 when I was 21 and 20. I was
I was a kid.
fucking around, and they're fucking around. I mean, maybe that's just like that age, but their age is somewhat normal in like a modern society, maturity.
Yeah.
But in this very bleak society where you go to a military school and you're conscribed
But
and
they should probably be more
mature.
Yeah.
And with Xaden and Violet's relationship,
I think that's what made it feel YA.
it is because
The childishness.
Violet has a maturity in some ways and a lot of immaturity in relationships. And you know what? That actually rings kind of true because if you've not had a lot of relationships, you don't know what emotional trust and intimacy looks like.
Even if you have had a lot of relationships.
She felt 20 in Fourth Wing.
Right.
She feels 17 or 18 in Iron Flame.
Agree.
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 I was behind her. I had no YA complaint
About her.
Fourth Wing.
And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And when we get to Iron Flame, I really want to talk about that because I think that's where like the crux of that comes from. But yeah, I mean, I liked their relationship. We've got this broody guy. We don't know a lot about him. We learn that he is basically because his father led the rebellion, he is taking on the responsibility of all of these children, of these basically in their world, a war veteran that was executed unjustly. Yeah. He takes on the kids. He makes sure he looks out for them. But at the same time, he's a little bit ruthless in that, like, there's this one kid that's like, I'm scared and sad. And
Might as well just die.
I have feelings. He's like, go fuck yourself then.
Yeah.
Like, you either step up and you learn how to
Or get
bond
out.
a dragon
Yeah.
or get out. So even he has this, like, back and forth where he's gentle. He's really gentle with violence.
I liked it.
Yeah, shucks. I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was clever.
You know what?
see
She
Rachel's
liked
face.
her nickname.
She
did.
She pretended that she didn't at first, but she really did.
Yeah, it got her hot and bothered.
She got
She's
really
like,
hot
I'll show
about
you
it.
some fucking violence. She's like,
I'm going to climb you like a tree.
I'm gonna violence that wardrobe over there with my
I
lightning.
did like that scene.
Yeah, she wrote that well.
Yeah.
Very
And
good.
so Rebecca Yarros' background isn't in fantasy at all. It's in romance.
Uh,
All of her books are romance. So this is her first jaunt.
Jaunt into genre.
Yeah, I made up the word jaunt. Her first foray, if you will, into romantasy. And like, that's what I'm saying. She's like a princess or a queen. And we've got our mother over here dropping another
Right.
book January 30th follow us on TikTok and you'll see I do a countdown every 2 days. It is the highlight of my life.
Yes.
But yeah, she just, I don't know, remember what we were talking about. The
sexual tension and the sex scenes. Yeah, she's got that.
Those were great.
Those were great.
So you
The
come out of this
tension,
book and you're
great.
like, damn, brah, that sis, that was delicious.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Let me get some more.
The third act breakup was dumb.
I don't even remember those. Just like I couldn't remember it happened in Crescent City. They just, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
Well, it's the source of conflict for the first 30% of Iron Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the trust.
And honestly,
It's the trust. And we can talk about that. She knows
Yeah.
he's hiding stuff. That's actually where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Is we've got this broody guy who's taking on all this responsibility, and she's learning the more she gets to know him, how much weight he is carrying and
Yeah.
the burden of his position and his power. And rather than learn to support him like a partner, she just gets angrier and more demanding of full disclosure.
Yeah. While lying
And
to
that is
everyone
one
around
of the
her.
reasons I think exactly.
Right.
Does she lie in this? I think that's more of the next one.
yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
I don't
towards
think
the
that's
end.
this book. But that is why I say I don't think Rebecca Yarros has ever been in therapy.
If
I
she
think towards
has,
the end, like when he kills all those people in her room,
Oh,
she doesn't necessarily tell everybody.
So Violet bonds when she bond. I'm saying this stuff like the person listening hasn't read it.
That's fine. Go for it.
that a lot of times our listeners have not read the book.
10 out of 10. So this is for, what's your mom's name?
Ruth.
Ruth and Becky. Mary Mac.
It's okay to provide context.
But so Violet, you know Violet's going to be special. She's she's whipper fucking smart. Xanon realizes that really early on. Like, and we don't know that in this book. Never mind. Yeah, he knows how smart she is. So the threshing, is it threshing when they pick up their
I
dragons?
think so.
So they're like, okay, another thing
Because
about
they
these
have
fucking
like the
dragons.
parade that they do in front of the
Yeah.
dragons.
Yeah, and the best
parade.
thing about the book is the dragons. The
Yeah.
dragons are the sassiest, funniest.
Love them.
Yes.
They're amazing.
Agreed.
And they walk in front of these dragons, and they don't need to be scared because if the dragons don't like them, they're gonna
Burn them.
burn them to death.
Yep.
Instantly die.
And they're actually dragons. They have 4 legs, unlike in Game of Thrones, where they're wyverns the entire time. Just gonna never let that go.
Yeah.
Never gonna let it go. I'm
Mother
never gonna
of
give
wyverns.
it up. Yeah, mother of wyverns. Yeah.
Mother of wyverns. Daenerys, Stormborn,
Mother of
wyverns.
So
Lose every listener. That's fine. Bye, all 5 of you. We loved you.
we loved you
Goodbye.
so much. I have been thinking about that every day for a long time.
You just wake up in the morning and you're like, they're not dragons.
They're not
They're
fucking
not
dragons.
dragons.
Yeah. I actually just saw a TikTok recently go viral talking about the same damn thing. She actually said what you said. But Hannah didn't see that, so that was original in her brain.
Yeah,
But
it was.
you-
I'm not.
Speaking of that, you learn on TikTok really fast that you nothing that you have ever done is unique to you.
I learned that from Pinterest. Years ago.
A decade ago.
10 years ago, I thought, oh my God, I have this amazing original idea. And then I put it into Pinterest, and 9 million other people have thought of the same exact thing.
That's all right. Once you accept that, you're free. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I feel
it
great.
is. It's freedom in the acceptance of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I'm not a special snowflake, and in
Nope.
fact, I don't need to be a special snowflake. Even
No.
though when I'm an Aquarius, and like I still kind of want to be a special snowflake. But
That belongs.
that belongs. I want to be a special snowflake that belongs. I want to be the trendsetter in my group of 5 friends.
Yes.
But what were we talking about?
Daenerys
The
Stormborn.
best part
wyverns.
of the book is the dragon.
Oh, the dragons.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
threshing. Thank you, fucking Rachel.
You're welcome.
She's the shit. I love you so much.
Yeah.
She keeps us on track.
Threshing.
We don't know anything about dragons. There's this one guy who actually like Kaori. He's one of the professors. His whole job is to study the dragon lore.
Yeah.
But they still don't know anything about
Yeah.
these dragons.
No.
But we learn that when they do bond, all of a sudden they have telepathy
Yeah.
and they speak in their head. We also know that there's this little dragon, which and Darna ends up being a baby. So when they're little, they have feathers for tails, which is
Yeah.
so fucking cute.
No.
They're so little and cute.
She's so cute and
And she
golden.
says, but they don't even know what the babies look like.
No.
Anyway, she bonds 2 dragons. First time ever.
One big boy and one little
tiny
girl.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tarn is a black dragon who is super unique. There's only 2 of them. And he's the biggest motherfucker there is.
He's super big.
How big do you guys picture him as?
He's not bigger than
Like
the one guy.
bigger
the
than
other
Mildred's
dragon.
dragon.
As
Yeah.
big as this garage.
Does she give us a scale? She's just
Well,
like,
she
Not
she's
said-
really.
fucking
Not
big.
really.
Sometimes I picture them like bigger, like your house, bigger than the house, because
Yeah.
she says she doesn't even come up to Tarn's ankle.
Tarn.
And sometimes they have serpentine
Her.
necks, and sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they what?
Have like serpentine necks,
Yeah.
and sometimes they don't, because they'll move their head like a snake.
Yeah.
Or he'll turn his head and look at her while she's on his back. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he doesn't.
and he can take her with his front feet and like flip her in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She falls a lot.
I kind of went dragon,
mean-
heart, dragon.
Okay.
Roughly dragon, heart, dragon scale.
I that's probably what I was thinking of too.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Game of Thrones with
Yeah.
all their wyverns has a good scale because they have big
Yep.
dragons and little dragons. But I've also seen people picture Tarn as big as like a cathedral, like a giant
Oh.
motherfucking.
No, she has to be able to climb up his
like
leg.
a Godzilla size. Godzilla size. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so she's
Yeah.
tiny. She gets the biggest dragon. He loves her. But there's this thing because Tarn is mated to Sigale.
How
this
convenient.
beautiful, sassy woman that she is. She's a navy blue dragon.
Ooh, I love her.
And guess who Sigale's bondage rider is?
Ooh.
Zayden Ryerson, our
my
shadow
God.
daddy. Yeah.
So wait, if those dragons are bonded, what does that mean? Like, don't they always have to be together?
It does. It does mean that. It means they're fated mates. We got some fated mates. We have some lifetime of force proximity.
Perfect.
Perfect. There's a reason why you wanted his D from day
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Day one D longing. So they
T-shirt list.
longing for that D from day one.
I want that on a T-shirt now.
Say no more. I'll get the Canva out. Oh my God, Rachel, can I tell the story? Okay, we've been real estate agents for a while. And you and me, you use Adobe.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use a computer.
So she sends me this message the other day and she goes, hey, hey girl,
I need to.
can I ask you something? And that, when you preface a question, I'm like,
Can I ask you something?
and I know that there's nothing, I get a little bit of instant anxiety.
Yeah.
What's happening? She goes, what is Canva?
Aww.
And that is like a software program that I use on a daily basis.
So then I get a call,
That's who I call immediately.
and I just hear,
Wheezing on the other end.
And like, but in a sweet, funny way.
Yeah.
Because I use it on a daily basis. So I'm going to teach Hannah how to use Canva so she can do her own branding and make herself t-shirts. That's how I made the Lady Death t-shirts.
Yeah. I wore that the other day.
I love it. Yeah, I love that shirt.
I like it too.
I wear it a
it's
lot.
It's unique.
It's soft.
It is soft. They make nice t-shirts. I just ordered my mom a t-shirt for Christmas from there. But I'll teach you to use it. Anyway, so we'll teach her how to use
Yeah.
Canva.
So can I get a tutorial?
And you'd be like, I need to make one about
Longing for D from day
longing
one.
for D. You mean what, like vitamin D? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
longing for D from day one. But yeah,
I did like the scene where they're Taryn and Sigale are together.
that's our first kissing scene.
and she can't block it out. And she's like, what is happening?
To my body. I'm so turned on. Which
Zayden's
is
out smoking weed in the yard.
that right
like-
there is an original. That's original.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
the only
think
time that
we've
shows
ever
up too.
Yeah.
not seen that yet.
No, I've never read a book where the bonding of your giant dinosaurs with wings makes you feel like you are also incredibly turned on.
Yeah.
It was a little interesting. I was like, oh, neat.
Never thought about the dragons actually having sex.
Yeah, but I like the emotional connection that it all has. And like they all feel each other's feelings. And then later on, when I don't think that happens in this book, but it just creates this like they're literally existing simultaneously. Like they're not existing as two people experiencing something, they're existing as like mates in each other's minds.
Yeah.
Which is a really incredible form of intimacy.
Yeah.
So I loved that because I love love.
I love love.
I love love and intimacy and romantic
But only
love.
in fantasy.
But not in real life.
Not in real.
But yeah, that was a really great scene. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thanks.
That's when they kiss for the first time.
Yeah.
And they
she makes
realize.
it thunder, or you hear thunder, and I was like, oh, her power's lightning. It takes
And
us like
he
3 more chapters to
And
get.
he realizes that.
Yeah.
Really early.
She's like, huh, right now? Okay, well, thunder snow's not a thing.
Yeah. He's
fine.
trying to block it out, teaching her to block it out.
He's the best teacher, too.
He's such a good teacher. He's so
I
dark.
do like Zayden. He's a good character.
I think so.
He's a pretty
lot.
consistently good character.
I agree. And
He
his
puts up with a lot of
maturity,
shit.
his maturity
does.
level is so. And I have to be really careful, like not getting down on Violet for like this constant. Rebecca tells us how to feel instead of showing us how to feel
Yes.
a lot. And I have noticed that in books it feels like rumination. And I don't want to read about your toxic ass anxiety brain.
Yeah.
And when you repeat the same feelings over and over and over again, it feels like
Yeah.
it feels like I don't want to read about your hamster wheel in your mind.
Right.
If we're going to be at first person, then let us not like show us, don't tell us.
Right.
It doesn't always have to be dialogue. You don't always have to say he's not telling me. Like if Violet had unpacked that,
Yeah.
my intuition is telling me that there is something bigger at play here. I don't know what it is, and I know my boyfriend is carrying something he doesn't feel confident enough to tell me.
Yeah.
That's what's fucking happening.
Right.
But
It's the inconsistency in her character. Because Fourth Wing Violet, for the first 75% of the book, that's how she would have approached it. Okay, I need to look at this a different way. Okay, let me go ahead and break down what I think this might be. And then okay, I've unpacked that. I'm ready to, I've conquered that. Now I'm moving on to the next thing. But once they finally get together, she loses a lot of her consistency, where she's all of a sudden second guessing herself, and it just becomes that she becomes a completely different character, a much younger emotional character.
I do like there is this thing that happens when you get in a relationship where the relationship really will bring out insecurities that you don't have outside of a relationship.
Yeah.
Relationships are a special brewing pot of who you fucking are. So I do like that she shifts a little bit because you don't know how to be your full, authentic, healthy self in a relationship at first. But it's the lack of growth and her ability to go.
Yeah, she never
pull
steps back out of that.
No.
I'm okay if we dipped into that.
You cannot tell. She is literally so stubborn. That woman is a Taurus. You cannot tell me otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
She's got mad, fixed sign placements.
Yeah.
Because that's how I think about it. I'm
that's
like,
fine.
she is so unchanging, cannot let it go,
That's
cannot let it
so
go, cannot
funny.
let it go.
I literally, when I was reading it for the first time, I was like, this girl is a Taurus.
Yeah, or something strong Taurus feelings. And that was one of the things that fucking Aelin did. Another character in another book.
I do want to say that the big reveal at the end,
Do you want to tell us about it?
when she finds out that Brennan is actually alive,
What?
that is traumatizing.
Yeah.
You've thought your brother was
yes.
dead
Oh, no.
for
Oh,
6
yes.
years.
We made too big of a deal about it. I knew he was coming back.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
typical.
God. What the Okay.
Rachel's gonna rage.
Rachel's gonna rage every
So I
single
was trying
time.
to figure out how to describe this to you guys because when I think
What gave it away?
right,
I
so
was flabbergasted.
okay, so we've discussed like I don't have an inner monologue. I don't have any internal dialogue at all. I
Okay.
don't think in words. I only think in pictures.
Okay.
So when I'm talking, I'm translating,
My images, your images.
yeah, to you. So when I read a book, I'm not thinking about. It's not like a timeline. It's like a shape. And so I can tell when a shape matches a shape from something else. And it's easy for me to be like, okay, I can remember 6 references to Brennan already. And we're like, oh, there was this one siphon. He was super powerful. The only time a siphon has like burned himself out trying to save somebody was him trying to save Brennan. But, oh, he didn't save Brennan. Okay. And then we referenced it like 6 more times. And I was like, there's absolutely no way he's not coming back. We have talked about him too much for him to not come back.
Interesting.
Plus, you don't have like the greatest mender in all of history and then be like, well, but he died off page.
And we
before.
never see a body.
And we never see a body. And we,
yeah.
Feel kind of dumb now for never even.
That's not how we read. That's not
No,
how our
that's not
brains.
how you
That's not how our
read.
Are
brains
you really good at
processing.
puzzles?
yeah.
Like
I'm really
the-
good at connections. That's because,
Yes.
yeah, because I don't have to reference a list. I just see the shape and then I can tell you everything that's about the book because it was like this shape before.
Right. So you could see the shape of that character from that other book when you knew that it wasn't going to go the way we all thought it was going to go. And that's the thing. That's what's incredible about reading is that our experiencing of these books is so different.
Right.
I am not looking for, I am not one of these people who is constantly trying to feel some control and connection to the story and constantly looking for what might happen. Because I know that no matter how much time you think and spend putting together theories, that's not going to happen. That ain't going to happen. I just don't care. But I love reading about
I'm
them.
just here for the ride.
Yeah.
Same. It's that air. It's that air sign. We're just like, hey, girl. Hey, we're just here for the
I'm
ride.
not necessarily about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But-
no, I mean, you're right. You were right.
It just occurs. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's going to come
You're
back.
like, that's a way that you could write that back.
Yeah.
This is what I would do with this story.
yeah.
Yeah. So here is another thing that I think about these books is in Fourth Wing, we don't get an ending. Our story just stops.
Yeah.
I don't know if she can write endings because and I will see this about Iron Flame because I'm not going to spoil anything, but the story stops.
Yeah.
Our plot is going, and she says, okay, this is where the story's going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Something big enough happened that I'm going to cut it off.
It's a very season finale.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
It's a season fucking finale.
It's
Like-
a TV show.
Meanwhile, some of the other books that I really enjoy that I won't mention, they end
Yeah. It's
For-
okay to
for
have
multiple
a resolution.
times.
for chapters.
Yeah.
And chapters and chapters. Books will end. So
Yeah.
you can have a series that you want to read and you cannot wait to learn, but you learn to trust your author. You learn to know that she understands emotional connection with the ending of a story, how to make us feel like, okay, this is a good place, so that if something were to happen, at least we have an ending.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have not seen her do that.
No.
And I don't trust that she can because I've not seen her do it.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
You don't want to get really far in and then
Her not
it's
know
the
how to
last
make an
season
ending
of Game of
because
Thrones.
thank you. I didn't even have to fucking say it. It was exactly where I was going.
Thank you, Rach.
Thanks,
You're
Rach.
welcome. See, I knew where you were going.
You saw the picture that
I
I painted
did.
for
Yeah.
you. All
knew
the
that
pieces
shape.
are connected. You knew that shape.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, exactly. I don't trust this author the way that I trust other authors because of the pacing and we'll in Iron Flame we'll get into it. We can talk about it way more, but yeah. So I think this book is great.
I liked it.
Yeah, this one was fine. It was a good book. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
good
good
romantasy book.
Yeah. What do you think about the world building?
It was fine. I mean, it was okay.
There's just a lot of questions
It
still.
was fine for what it is. Is it fine for what it's become in like the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Right.
Because I had a lot of questions about the dragons. Like we mentioned before, they're volunteers. They volunteer to come and bond these people. And then they're killing their riders left and right. And they're killing dragons. Like they send those dragons off to die. When they send the marked ones off and they like empty that strategically important
Yeah.
outpost.
Yes.
Just to teach them a fucking lesson.
Yeah, like Taryn, the largest
Yes.
black dragon.
Yeah.
And Andarna. Isn't Andarna there? Or she?
Yeah, she comes with them. And they're
Yeah.
not even pretending like, okay, so you're trying to fight a war. Even if you're not telling
It's like
people
that
what you're fighting.
F-16 that's flying around. You heard about that?
No.
So there's a fighter jet that's just lost because the pilot ejected from it, and I think it was on like autopilot, and they think it's just flying around.
Oh, God.
So,
$1 billion airplane.
it's fine. It'll land eventually.
It's just in the sky,
Like,
flying around.
it's just, okay, so you're relying on the trust of the dragons to get them to come. And then they're like, oh, every year there's fewer and fewer dragons. But like, yeah, you sent Taryn off to die.
Yeah.
You sent these dragons off.
And we get a little bit more of a glimpse, plot-wise, for why they might not be bonding in the
Yeah.
second book. But yes, they are. We do learn in this book that less and less dragons are bonding.
Yeah. Because
Every year. And
because they're
Violet
being real fucking shitty.
Yeah, and they think that they can control. They think they have more control than they do, and there's no reverence.
Yeah.
There's
for-
not an appropriate amount of reverence for the amount of emphasis that they put on the dragons.
We were super inconsistent about how important they were.
Yeah.
right.
Like, these are the dragon riders. This, like, you die to get in this college, but those dragons, fuck them.
In essence, it should be a little bit more like spiritual, to be honest. Like that connection that they all have with the
Yeah.
dragons and with the earth, because okay, something we learn in this. Do we learn this in this
yeah,
book
towards the end.
about how? Okay, so we learn at the end
That there's just wild magic.
there's wild magic and the Venom. The Venom
Yeah.
are the big bads. They come. This world is this authoritarian government that has lied, deleted history for and propaganda, which
Yeah.
is so dead on with how a military runs.
Yeah.
So I did like that was very true to like a militaristic society is going to tell you one narrative that works for them.
Yeah.
But there should have it feels like if you've got 600 years of bonding dragons, which I think that is about
Yeah.
right, that you would have a more like spiritual, religious type element of and reverence towards that bond.
Yeah. I mean, like, you think about the Wheel of Time. And in the books, I only watched part of the series, but in the books, like, the men can't channel because the male source is tainted.
Right.
So effectively, the wild magic is like the male side of the source.
Right.
You can't channel it, but the dragons filter it. So the dragons allow them to wield magic. The dragons grant them access to this vast source of wild magic that is otherwise unattainable. And they really treat them like horses.
Cattle.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And
like there's an entire college
yeah.
where 70% of the people who go to it are going to die
Yeah.
to do this incredible thing that allows them to have magic, to be flying weapons,
Yeah.
and they just choose to sacrifice them
Yeah.
for war games.
Yeah.
Well, well, that happens in the second book. Never mind.
I mean, they send them off to that outpost, which they take everybody out of the outpost. They end up losing people. That's when we lose Liam.
Yeah, Liam dies. That's really sad.
Very
That was
sad.
very sad.
That scene was really sad.
I
very
thought,
sad.
I get why she. I get why
That was
she.
a Rachel breath.
Yeah, I get why. I get why she did it. I get why we needed to lose Liam. I just hope that that doesn't become a. We're gonna. Oh, actually, it did. It did. It became
Yeah.
a pattern.
Yeah.
It became a pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't want for that.
Because then you don't feel like you can connect to anybody because you're like, I could literally lose anybody.
Yeah.
And it might be a really impactful death, or it might just be like, whoops, that lady got her neck broken. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Too bad she introduced herself.
And it
as
was,
me.
Liam was such a good character, and we should have known because she
was
did
so
put so much
good.
emphasis on him.
Yeah.
He was such a good person and such a good dude and such a good friend. He was so handsome.
So cute.
He was funny. He whittled his little character, his little wood whittles.
wood carvings.
Yeah, he was so, yeah.
R.I.P. Liam.
Yeah. It was really sad to lose Liam. And I think,
Yeah. And his dragon.
and his fucking dragon.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
They lost 2 dragons.
Yeah. So
They
let
should be
all of
kissing those
100.
dragons' asses.
right. And but also, let me also say, I do think that there is something about, I find that this is really inconsistent with these dragons who are hundreds of years old. So you expect a level of wisdom and knowledge to be so stubborn about the information and knowledge that they share with people.
Yeah.
Because they do not have the information they need to understand from a macro sense what's happening in their world.
Right.
So it is almost as if the dragons, they're part of the problem too. They're stubborn. Empyrean,
The Empyrean. I
the
think.
Empyrean, they are also doing something that is like not protective. Is
Yeah.
the right word for that? It's not in
Yeah.
their self-interest.
Yeah.
You know, I think the dragons know, like, we learn, Violet feels betrayed a couple times. One by Xaden,
Yeah.
when she learns that Xaden is selling weapons that destroy and kill venom, which she didn't know were real. She thought they were fairy tales.
Yeah.
And she, her dad told her about it, like a folklore, like a little kid's book.
Yeah.
Venom are real. Xaden is selling weapons to the Griffin Riders, who we think are the bad guys, which I knew that was going to happen. I did see that coming. I was like, the Griffins aren't going to be bad.
Yeah.
They are going to be, we're going to have to team up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that feels like a betrayal to her. Of course it does, because she's raised in this authoritative, militaristic society where you don't go away. Like, everybody's always on the same path.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the second betrayal being Taryn.
Yeah.
Knowing that Taryn knew that
And didn't tell her.
and didn't tell her.
Yep.
Another thing that we do learn, Taryn's previous writer was Naolan. It's very close to Nolan.
Yeah.
Not the same name.
Okay.
He died.
He was the siphon, wasn't he?
Wasn't he a mender, or is that Brennan?
Brennan.
He brought Brennan back to
Yeah.
life.
He siphoned his own energy into Brennan.
And yeah, so we think that they were lovers.
Yeah.
But Taryn won't talk about his death.
Nope.
So there's a lot of speculation that he may not have died. Wouldn't put it past.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's like a soap opera.
It's a soap
It's
opera.
going to wake up out of the coma.
Yeah. And also, whenever someone dies now, I'm like, whatever. I'll see them in a few chapters.
Yeah, unless you die with their body. Like, I knew Liam was gone.
Yeah.
But was he?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was. He was. He was dead at the end of the book.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about with Iron Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can go ahead and.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're good here.
All right. Well, goodbye.
Until next time.
Bye, friends.
I'll see you later.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?